Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Hope you guys have saved some room in that gas tank because it's time to go one more round with Rob. Here today, I'm going to be breaking down the top-ranked boxing card that occurred this past Saturday, April 10th, which was headlined by Joe Smith Jr. taking on Maxim Vlasov in the main event for the vacant WBO Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. Now, this was a great card, top to bottom. The night started off with some fireworks and everything like that, and the theme just kind of continued throughout the night of fireworks and great fights. I couldn't say anything. I can't say anything else about the card, man. It was a really exciting card. So I'm not gonna make you guys wait any longer. Let's get right into it. First fight of the night. I know this is a little bit different than what I had announced on Facebook and Instagram that I'm gonna cover as the first fight. What I'm going to do from now on, guys, is I'll give you the co-main event and the main event fight that I'll be covering. And then whichever fight is first on the card is the one I'll cover as well. The one I'll give you my take on as well. It seems like these boxing cards just switch fights around throughout the week and everything like that. So other than the co-main and main event, which are normally locked into their spots, I'll give you whichever one of the first fight it is. I may not have that highlighted, though. So, first fight of the night actually ended up being Donnie Canto versus Waldo Cortez at heavyweight. Whew. Guys, I'm just going to get right into it. You guys will tell about my reaction here in a second. So, round one, both guys come out and they start exchanging jabs right away. They're both of them are just pumping out jabs. It was really nice to see them come out and really try to start hammering away at each other right away, especially at heavyweight. I think it was only scheduled. I think it was a scheduled 6 or 8 round bout. I don't remember exactly, but I believe it was 6 or 8 rounds. So they had a little bit of time to work, but seeing them come out and start pumping out jabs like that, whew, man, I was excited. Canto definitely was doing more of the moving forward and pressing on Cortez after kind of that first initial exchanging of jabs, and they both kind of settled into the fight. Cortez definitely throwing some heavy shots as well. There was at one point he threw a hard, what would have been a hard overhand right that just missed. I think it was Canto either pulled back or he was just out of the range of Cortez. But wow, Cortez won. He really won that overhand right, and I wouldn't be surprised if Canto felt the wind from it at all, because it was a hard overhand right that he was swinging. Like I said, Canto though for his regard was having great success with his jab, especially after exchanging jabs. I really think he found his range with those jabs when they first came out, and he was having a great night with his jab. It was landing almost every time, if not every time, and then that leads him to land a hard 1-2 combo that just knocks Cortez down. And when I say hard, guys, it was hard. That right hand, he said, that right hand said bang. It was hard. Cortez goes down. Cortez is not able to answer the 10 count. I don't even know if he got up to his feet, guys. I think he may have gotten up to a knee, and the ref got to 9, and he didn't even bother counting 10. He was like, it's done, it's over. So fast and furious fight for the heavyweights, especially a heavought fight. Holy shamoly, guys! And this was kind of the theme. There was I think they said 4 or 5 heavyweight bouts on the card between the undercard and the main card. 4 or 5 heavyweight bouts, and that was the pace. That was the standard that these heavyweights were like, okay, well, that's what we have to do now. The next fight after this was a heavyweight fight, ended the same way with a knockout in the first round. I think it took till the 3rd or 4th fight for us to even see a second round. It was amazing, especially an amazing display, especially from the heavyweights. So, like I said, knockout win at 1 minute and 41 seconds of the first round for Sonny Canto. What a way to start the night. I think the broadcasters had said that Canto hadn't fought in a year because of COVID. It didn't seem like it, though, guys. it didn't seem like it at all. He came out and it was like he had never missed a beat, and he certainly did come back with a bang. So I can't wait to see his next bout. Also, I may be a little partial to him in his next bout because he is from Philadelphia. So just saying, that it made my heart a little happy when I heard them announce that he was from Philadelphia, and then he comes out and knocks the guy out in round 1. Made the heart a little happy. You know, Cortez, they said, does have an MMA background, which helps. It helps because he has that combat sport experience. But MMA boxing and boxing are two different things. Two different things. You know, and I really think he needs to go back and work on his boxing. It's early in his career. I think he was 2-1 or 3-1 coming into this bout. So he's either 2-2 or 3-2 now. I think if he really sells himself on the boxing, he could have a decent run at it. But we'll see what the future holds for him. So, like I said, guys, a quick one right there. So now we get into the co-main event, which was the WBC had this man ranked at number 11. It was F.A. Ajagba versus Brian Howard. This was another heavyweight bout in the co-main event. Guys, like I said before, I'm not going to give you guys any theatrics with it. Let's just get into it. Ajagba comes out. He takes the middle of the ring to start the first round. Takes it immediately. And Howard just kind of... Howard obviously has to take the perimeter because Ajagba was not moving off of that... off of the center of the ring there. For Top Rank, they have a square in the dead center of the ring. It says Top Rank Boxing on. Ajagba was literally standing in that square and just pivoting in the square. It was quite an amazing thing to see him come out and just stand there, pivot around, and have Howard just having to work the perimeter. Now Howard starts off the round. He's throwing hard shots. A majority don't land, but one or two kind of make some contact, and so I think he knows how dangerous Ajagba is, and he's trying to show Ajagba, like, hey, I'm not going to back down from you. I'm going to start throwing my shots at you too. Like it is what it is. And, you know, I'm coming in here to take you out. So he's throwing those hard shots. Like I said, a majority don't land, but he gets a couple in there. Ajagba lands a little ways into the round, lands a hard right hand that definitely backs Howard up. And he does it again shortly thereafter. He lands that first hard right hand. So he's really gotten Howard's attention at this point with that right hand. And I think he's made it a point of like, hey, like, I'm going to land on you, and I'm just going to find my time when I can land on you, and I'm going to land on you. And Ajagba really kind of settled in after that first 30 to 45 seconds in the round, and he really took control of the round. Like I said, after that first 30 to 45 seconds, he started landing that right hand. He landed those two hard right hands. The first one that backed Howard up. He really started to take control of the round. I think he kind of took that first 30, 45 seconds to see what Howard was going to, do, if Howard had anything that he should be cautious of. And I don't think he felt anything of that because he just started taking control of it. The round ends. I gave it 10-9 to Ajagba easily. Like I said, that hard right hand really backed him up. Howard was throwing some hard shots, but a lot of it didn't land. So I couldn't score it for him. Round 2, Ajagba comes out, and again, that square, that Top Rank Boxing square that's in the middle of the ring, Ajagba comes out and just stands right in the middle of that square. And so, I mean, that was kind of his thing to start the round, honestly, guys. So when he started rounds, he was going to come out and he was going to take the center square. He was going to make it a point of like, hey, I'm going to control this ring. So that's what he does. He really starts getting his 1-2 combo that worked so well for him in the first round. He's really starting to get it going again early this round in that first 30, 45 seconds. He's not taking that time to see if Howard's going to do anything because he already knows. So starts really getting that jab cross going for him early. Howard's trying to land his shots. He's just not being as successful. and he's being forced to move backwards for a majority of the round, and that probably led to his lack of success on landing. It's really hard to land on the guy while you're moving backwards. Guys can do it. Don't get me wrong. Guys can do it. Guys do it all the time. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is that's how he made the back half of his career. Was he became a defensive fighter. He figured out how to hit guys as he's moving backwards or moving out of the way or anything like that. Like, so guys can do it. It's just a lot more difficult to do. You really have to be a student of the game to figure it out. So Howard's moving backwards the majority of the round, probably leading to his unsuccessful attempts at throwing. Not to say he didn't land anything on Ajagba, but he just wasn't landing as much as Ajagba. And Ajagba this round really did well with mixing up his shots to the head and his shots to the body. You know, you would see him start throwing a couple of shots to the head, and then he would throw, one or two shots to the head and then dig him in the body. So Ajagba was really doing well at mixing it up, and that probably led to Howard not having as much success as well, because he had to try to figure out whether he had to block his head or block his body. So it was just, it kind of had Howard guessing. So again, I gave the round 10-9 to Ajagba. It was clearly Ajagba's round. It was clearly his round. Round 3, Ajagba. Guess what, guys? He again comes out, takes that center square in the ring, but he at this time he doesn't kind of give Howard a little bit of time to get moving on the perimeter. He comes out, he takes the square, he kind of sees how Howard's moving, and he just starts moving in on Howard. And he starts getting Howard really, really backing up. Now, Howard, through the first half of this round, is more active than he was in the first 2 rounds. He's definitely more active than he was in the first 2 rounds. He's trying to shift the momentum from Ajagba moving forward to him being able to land, almost like he was trying to draw Ajagba in so that he could land. The problem is this: Ajagba, right at the halfway mark of the round, lands another hard 1-2 combo. The right hand absolutely crumbles Howard. And Howard, legitimately, guys, he dropped as soon as he got hit. He actually got spun 180 degrees. So Ajagba hits him with that 1-2, and Howard turns. He spun so that he was facing the opposite direction and fell. The ref immediately stops the fight. It was clear he didn't have to do a 10 count. Ref immediately stops the fight, and he actually, as he's stopping the fight, calls the ringside doctor into the ring, which I thought was amazing. I thought that was incredibly smart. It was 100% in the best interest of Howard to have that doctor in there immediately. So it was a really good job by the referee. Really great combo from Ajagba, and it was guys, I still don't know what to say about it. Like, it was scary. And not like a oh my god, I think this guy's definitely, his life's in trouble, but it was scary how hard Ajagba hit and that sound that it made. So it landed right on Howard's ear and temple area. Like, it literally kind of came in here. So it was more on the ear, somewhat in the temple area, and it just shut Howard off. But the sound of it was, it was something to, if you haven't seen the fight, obviously you know what happens. Go back and watch it though, and just fast forward to the 3rd round here and just listen to that sound, because wow, it was a pop. Anyway, knockout win at 1 minute and 29 seconds of round 3 for F.A. Ajagba. Great fight from Ajagba. Controlled the entire fight. Once he got his rhythm and timing early, like I said, he took that first 30 to 45 seconds in the first round to really get that. And then from then on, he really kept Howard moving back, for a vast majority of the fight. He really had Howard on the back foot, and he had Howard moving back. And that's exactly what, that's exactly what you have to do to win a fight. It is. The sound, like I said, the sound of that impact of the right hand was just, I don't know if Ajagba could have made a louder sound with it, because wow, it was, like I said, it was a pop. It was a pop. Howard did have a few moments in the fight where he could have made it interesting over the course of the fight, but Ajagba just had his rhythm and timing and was able to put the pressure on him so that those moments were shut down almost immediately. You know, so it was just going to be a rough night for Howard. And honestly, I think this was, you never want to see a guy get knocked out in this fashion. You never want to see a guy get knocked out that violently. But I think that was the best case for him, because if this thing had went over the 10 rounds that it was scheduled for, Ajagba would have just put a beating on him. Like he would have beat him like he stole something. Like it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good for Howard, that's for sure. So last thing I want to say, guys, is I honestly 100% hope that Howard is okay. I hope he has no other injuries resulting from that. I hope it's literally just the knockout and the concussion that I am 100% certain that he has. I hope he has no other injuries or health concerns other than that, and I hope he's able to get well and heal safely, and that he can, make a run after this fight, because he really had a rough out, and I would like to see him have some success after this. So co-main event ended with a bang. Main event now, Joe Smith Jr. versus Maxim Vlasov for the vacant WBO Light Heavyweight Championship of the world. This fight was actually supposed to take place on February 13th, but Vlasov, tested positive for COVID-19, so the fight was postponed until this past Saturday on the 10th. The curious thing is Vlasov has said that when he went back to Russia, he was tested again there, and he was tested for the antibodies, but he didn't have the antibodies for COVID-19, which would lend a belief to be that his positive test around the 13th of February may have been a false positive. I don't know, but that was curious to me, is that he was like, look, I've never had the antibodies, so I don't know that I've ever had it. It could have been a false positive. It could have put this fight in jeopardy, but it didn't. It just moved the date back 2 months. These guys had 2 more months to train. Granted, I know that it sucks. The guys, they were cutting weight and everything like that to make the fight happen. And then, you got to go ahead and do it all again 2 months later. That sucks. But we got the fight. So let's get into it. Round one, both guys come out. They land jabs in the center of the ring immediately. And they almost just, they just start going. They start going at it. Literally, it was just literally off the bat. They come out, they like I said, they land the jabs in the center of the ring immediately, and they really just started trying to go to town on each other. They really did. They started to go to town on each other. Vlasov's holding his hands low, like down by his waist. Arms are straight down by his waist. But it's kind of working for him, honestly. It's kind of working for him. And he's throwing more combos and like punches and bunches kind of thing. Smith is just trying to land the hard one shot when he can. But I think because of Vlasov's volume, he's not able to consistently get his shots in. Like I said, the pace of the first minute and a half of the round was really fast for the start of a boxing bout. I was not expecting this thing to start this way, and by the pace of that, I was like, oh, this is going to be a great fight, because these guys are going at it. End of the round, I gave it 10-9 to Vlasov. I can see an argument for Smith getting the round. I thought Vlasov had the better combos. I thought he did more than Smith. He was more active, but like I said, I could see the round being scored for Smith. I just gave it to Vlasov. Round two, Smith comes out, and he starts the round by trying to use some forward pressure. So he tries to get the momentum going for himself. He's really trying to use the forward pressure to get inside of Vlasov's punches. Vlasov had a little bit of the reach on Smith, so he really had to try to get inside. Smith gets a cut and some redness on his left eye already. So that's his lead eye, so it's his front eye. And it's round 2, and he's already got some redness coming in there and some blood coming out of it there. So could be an issue as the fight continues. Smith does start to land his right hand hard, and it leads to success for him in the round. You know, so it's maybe the cut didn't bother him as much as we had thought. At the end of the round, Smith starts landing some good body shots, especially the right hand. His right hand really got going in the second round, and you know he really started to be able to take control of the round in this bout with that right hand. The round ends. I scored at 10-9 for Smith, so I had him split the first 2 rounds. The cut that I mentioned that Smith had this was only the 3rd time in his career that he was cut in a fight, which I thought was a amazing stat to have there. So sometimes when guys get cut that few times in their career, as they get cut, it affects them. Based off that second round, especially the back half of the second round, I didn't think it was going to affect Smith, because he started landing, and it almost seemed like it wasn't going to bother him. So round 3, Smith comes out and he starts quicker than he did in round 2. But the 2 overall start kind of slower than they did in round 1. So Smith starts off a little bit quicker than he did in round 2, but overall I think he and Vlasov definitely started slower than they did in round 1. I mean, round 1, the way that they started, you just can't start every round like that, because neither guy would literally be able to stand later in the fight. The pace was just frantic. Vlasov starts to hold his hands up more consistently. I think Smith landing those hard shots in the second round really kind of got to him, like, oh, I better start blocking some of these, or it's going to be night-night real quick for me. And he starts holding him up, higher in this round more too, because Smith is definitely starting to land better. And Smith is starting to use better head movement. He's moving forward more in the round. Unfortunately, he just can't find a rhythm, and this was kind of a struggle for him. He just couldn't find a rhythm. Vlasov still landing more in like a combo fashion. Smith is starting to throw more combos, but like I said, he's having a hard time getting into a rhythm, because then he's also trying to land hard shots as well. It was almost like he didn't know whether he wanted to do more combos or more, 1 or 2 punches, where that punch that I'm throwing, if it's a 1 punch, or that second punch that I'm throwing, if he's throwing 2 of them, it is going to be like a load up, I'm going to try to knock you out with it shot. I don't know that he really tried to, I don't know, at least in these early rounds, that he really thought he could, I don't think he really knew what he wanted to do, pace-wise. So both guys still having a pretty fast pace, so far in the fight. Round ends, I gave it 10-9 to Smith, just because I thought he was able to land the harder shots at times, and I thought they both were able to land their combos when they did. Like I said, Smith a little bit harder of a time to do it, but he also had those harder shots that he got in there. So I gave the round to Smith 10-9, just barely. Round 4, Vlasov comes out holding his hands up, and he's pumping his jab out now. He's pumping his jab out. And, that was, I think Vlasov kind of knew, like, hey, I got to start holding my hands up and covering up. Because if this guy lands one shot on me, I can go to sleep. Vlasov lands a good uppercut on Smith, but then after that uppercut lands, Smith opens up with 4 or 5 good hook punches that are kind of mixed up between Vlasov's head and his body. Vlasov's moving forward heavily in this round. He was really putting the pressure on Smith. And I did notice that if Smith went first, though, in this round, so if he started his combo first, he was landing better. His problem was if Vlasov threw first and Smith tried to counter him, Smith had a harder time with the counter punching in this fight than he did if he got off first. Unfortunately, Vlasov's pressure in the round just seemed too much for Smith to be able to get off first consistently, and Vlasov kind of just kept that up throughout the round. So I ended up giving this round 10-9 to Vlasov. So again, at this point, they're round 4. They're a third of the way through the fight. I have them split 2 rounds to 2. It's shaping up to be a great fight. Round 5, coming in here. Vlasov continuing his forward pressure. He figured out that it worked for him in round 4, so he's going to just try to keep doing it again in round 5. Forward pressure to start off the round. Smith seems to be doing better, though, when he's able to get closer to Vlasov and get inside. Like I said, Vlasov has the reach on him, so he's got to be able to get inside to land those shots. And Smith, I think, figures out in this round that if he's able to get in closer to Vlasov, he's going to have better success. Now, Vlasov moving forward on Smith also would kind of bring Vlasov into that better range for Smith. So he's got to kind of balance that he's got to balance the pressure he wants to put on Smith with his ability to still use his range. So the two are definitely clinching more in this round, though, which leads to more success for Smith. Like I said, if he can get inside, he can do better. And I think they're starting to clinch more because the pace that they had through those first 4 rounds was just, it was fast. So they're starting to clinch more, trying to catch their breath. Vlasov still landing very well at range, and he's keeping Smith from being able to get close as much as Smith would like. So because of that, that's kind of how the round goes. And I ultimately gave it 10-9 to Vlasov. So Vlasov starting to nose ahead here on the scorecards, at least as far as I'm concerned. So round 6, we're going to start to get, we're going to get to this midway point round, and this could, I always like to see how the middle round goes, the middle 2 rounds of a fight goes, to see, if you can tell who's really going to start to take over, or if it's going to be one guy really just kind of keeping control. So round 6, Smith comes out and he throws a hard body shot immediately to Vlasov, and it kind of gets Vlasov's attention. And Smith starts moving forward. He starts moving and moving forward more, in the first minute of this round. And he's moving forward at times, but then he's also moving around more. And as he's moving around more, it was almost to me like he was trying to draw Vlasov in because he knew he would have better success on the inside. Vlasov does seem to be slowing down some in this round as well, which could lend a good nod to Smith being able to kind of take control of the fight here. Vlasov is actually slowing down. Smith is landing some better shots this round, most definitely, or most likely because Vlasov does seem to be slowing down. But Vlasov's still landing in more of his punches and bunches style that he has had for a majority of the fight at this point. I just don't think he did enough in the round to kind of cover what Smith was doing as well, landing his hard shots. So I gave Smith the round 10-9, just barely. And like I said, I think it was just because he was able to land the harder shots. I thought he landed the harder shots. That was my opinion. I thought he landed the harder shots. While Vlasov landed his shots, I just thought Smith did a little bit more with his shots because they were the harder ones. Round 7, the two come out and they start exchanging combos immediately. So kind of shades of that first round coming out here again. They don't have that pace as quick for as long as they did in the first round, but they start off the round with that same kind of pace. Smith lands a good left hook early that definitely hurts Vlasov, and he starts pressing him after this. Really starts pressing him. And as he's pressing him, he's really starting to attack the body. He's digging in. He's landing to the body. And he's, you know, I think he's starting to try to dig at that gas tank of Vlasov, so that Vlasov will stop moving around so much so that he can really, so that Smith can really get to work. Vlasov is using good upper body movement, but he's very defensive this round after that early left hook really kind of clipped him. He threw some counter punches, but it really wasn't, compared to what Smith was doing, it really wasn't a whole lot of volume. So I thought this was Smith's best round thus far. I gave it to him 10-9. Round 8, Smith comes out and he's pressing Vlasov again. I think he knew that Vlasov was hurt in that 7th round. He really pressed him the whole 7th round, and he just wanted to keep trying to do it again. Vlasov's just trying to avoid Smith. Like I said, Smith's moving forward and pressing him, and Vlasov's just trying to stay out of the way. Smith does land a stinging right hand early, but kind of after that right hand, Vlasov just starts pressing back after Smith. He starts pressing back on Smith, and you know, it may be Smith being like, oh, okay, well, if you're going to do that, I can draw you in to land like his hard shot again. But Vlasov was just having good success with his punches. He was throwing the combos, and he had a good round, especially after that last round where Smith had him hurt for a good portion of the round. You know, Smith is definitely still landing his harder strikes, but Vlasov's moving forward for a majority of the round, and he's throwing his good combos. You know, Vlasov's still landing too, guys. So I gave the round 10-9 to Vlasov. I thought, you know, after he got hit with that right hand, he really just said, no, I'm going to take control of this and not let that happen again. And that's what he did. Round 9, Smith comes out, and he's throwing some quick shots here. Quick shots. Vlasov, though, still landing his shots as well in the first minute. So the two are really kind of, they're almost exchanging back and forth in a manner, so to speak. Vlasov's doing best when he's throwing, you know, his 1-2 combo in sets of 2 to 3 of those combos. So he would throw, you know, a jab cross, and that would land. Or like a jab cross, and a good, you know, at least I would say 60 to 75% of those shots would land when he's throwing the combos in that, when he's throwing the 1-2 combo in that manner of 2 to 3 sets of that combo. It seemed like when he was just throwing one set of just a 1-2, it wasn't landing as well. So I wanted to see if that continued. Vlasov gets back to using that upper body movement and footwork that just has Smith trying to move forward on him and land his shots. Vlasov just seems to not be there when Smith is trying to land. So I gave the round 10-9 to Vlasov because he just seemed to not be there when Smith tried to land. And like I said, when he was throwing those 1-2 combos in the sets of 2 or 3, he was really landing well with it. Round 10, Vlasov comes out. He's moving forward to start. Smith looked tired in this round to me. It really looked like this man was going to have to dig down deep and try to find some gas left in that tank, because Vlasov was still moving. He was still moving better than Smith. He wasn't moving like he wasn't in the early rounds. Obviously, it's round 10. These guys are both of these guys are definitely tired. Smith just looked more tired to start the round. And because of that, Vlasov does well backing him up into the corner and onto the ropes and landing his shots how he does. Smith, at this point, seems to be throwing more labored shots, and it lends to Vlasov kind of being still able to just get out of the way of his shots because he can see Smith loading up and trying to throw it. Now, Smith does land a good right hook just before the end of the round, but, I mean, I think that was his best punch of the round. And like I said, it was just before the end of the round. So because of all the pressure and being able to back Smith up into the corner and the ropes and land his shots, I gave the round 10-9 to Vlasov. Guys, really close fight here. At this point, I had it scored, what would that be? I had Vlasov up 2 rounds. I really thought, you know, Smith was going to need to win the final 2 rounds or finish Vlasov in the final 2 rounds, or if he wanted to win the fight, he had to at least knock Vlasov down in at least one of the rounds if he wanted to win the fight. So at this point, you know, Smith really has to get over how tired he may feel and really start digging into Vlasov to really get going here. Round 11, both guys come out throwing jabs at each other, just like they have in earlier rounds. Smith is trying to up his output early in the round. He's really, like I said, guys, at this point, he's really trying to dig and up that output. He's trying to move forward more, which is when he lands better. It's when he's landed better in the fight. But Vlasov is tying Smith up as soon as he gets close enough to, as soon as Smith gets close enough to start to land some of those inside shots. And that stops Smith's forward movement. Now, Smith lands a good left uppercut to the body that stuns Vlasov. You can tell Vlasov did not like it. And Smith starts moving forward and having success. Issue for Smith here comes in that he lands a shot to the back ahead of Vlasov that causes a break in the action. Yes, Smith landed a shot to the back of the head. I'm not so certain that Vlasov wasn't kind of turning or going or bending forward as Smith threw his shot. Regardless, the ref called it a shot to the back of the head, gave Vlasov some time to recover. The problem with this was Vlasov went to his corner instead of a neutral corner, which caused a lot of anger and shouting from both Smith's manager and Top Rank's executive promoter. Now, I will say this. Smith initially started walking towards his corner, but he almost immediately, you know, turned and went to a neutral corner. And I think him walking towards his corner was just like a, you know, kind of, it was almost like an instinct. He was like, oh, you know, it's a break in, you know, it almost like, oh, it's a break in between rounds. So he starts to go to his corner, and then he's like, oh, wait, no, it's a break in the middle of the round, and goes through a neutral corner. The important part about this is because Vlasov went to his corner, Smith didn't. Vlasov was able to get instruction directly face-to-face from his corner that Smith wasn't able to get. Regardless, Vlasov comes back out. They restart the fight. Smith comes out hard, and there's only a few seconds left in the round. Smith comes out hard to finish the last few seconds of the round. I loved it. I gave the round 10-9 to Smith. Round 12, final round. If Smith wants to win this fight, I think he needs to at least drop Vlasov in the round if he doesn't finish him. If he wins the round, I think it's a tie. Honestly, how I had it on my scorecard here. So round 12, Smith comes out. He tries to start quick, but Vlasov tying him up almost immediately through the first minute of the round, like he did in round 11. Through that first minute of the round, though, Smith is landing well on Vlasov, especially to the body, but Vlasov is landing some shots as well. I just don't think they were anywhere near as hard as Smith this round. I think Smith really dug down and kind of got a second win, so to speak, and just really took it to Vlasov. Vlasov at one point looks up at the big screen to try to see how much time was left on the clock, and at that point it was just under a minute. So Vlasov does everything he can to just survive in the round. Smith finishes the round with a flurry of punches with a left hook that lands just a split second before the bell, but it was a good left hand that landed. So it was, like I said, guys, it was a good left hand that landed. Definitely a good impression to leave on the judges. I gave Smith the round 10-9. So I had the fight scored even, 6 rounds apiece. Okay. I had 6 rounds apiece would make my judging score, my scorecard, it would have read 114 to 114 in points terms. So I gave Smith rounds 2, 3, 6, 7, 11, and 12. I gave Vlasov rounds 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10. The judges saw it this way. I'm going to give you guys the scores first. The judges saw it this way. The first judge saw it 114 to 114, as I did. I don't know that his rounds matched mine, but his score matched mine. The second judge saw it 115 to 113, and the third judge saw it 115 to 112. Those two judges saw it for the winner by majority decision and new WBO Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, Joe Smith Jr. Now, I want to say this. So, like I said, the one judge saw it as I did. and I believe it was Andre Ward, who was one of the commentators on Saturday night. He scored it the same way I did as well, 114 to 114. My rounds, and I believe it was Andre Ward who was scoring it. I could be mistaken. It could be the other broadcaster, or one of the other broadcasters. We disagreed on some of the rounds, but we gave him the same score overall. One judge gave Smith 7 rounds for the win. The third judge also gave Smith 7 rounds for the win, but one of those rounds had to be scored at 10-8. That was the only way that he could mathematically get a 115 to 112 scoring, unless he scored one round even. But I don't know. If he scored one round even, I don't think that would be possible either. So he had to have scored at a 10-8 round at some point. Maybe that 11th round when Vlasov was, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't think it was. I thought the decision was surprising. I thought if it came down to the decision, especially in that manner, I thought Vlasov was going to get the nod. But I don't think it was a robbery. I don't. I thought it was a great fight. I really hope we can see these two go back at it again. But that just doesn't seem to be the course for most of boxing's history, especially nowadays. So that's the show today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. You know, like always, if you had a differing opinion on my take, drop it in the comments below. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Drop something in the comments over there. We can have a discussion. If you guys know of a card that you don't see me talking about on Facebook or Instagram, let me know. Send me a message. Drop it in the comments. You guys know the drill at this point. I will get the, you know, I can't wait to keep doing these shows, guys. I really enjoy it. So, you know, can't wait to keep going with you guys. And until next time, hope you guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. And congratulations, you just went one more round with Rob. Have a good one. We'll see you next time, guys.